Tell me how the Big Wreck reunion came about.
I think more than anything, it was just Brian and I reconnecting as friends. I think after the demise of Big Wreck the first time, it was. Brian and I had a long-standing friendship that sort of fell to the wayside. So we connected as friends first, and then the music thing came quickly afterwards.
Now, do you have any fear, like, friendships are so important in life? Do you have any fear, like, okay, we got the friendship back, now we're going to do the band thing again, and you're kind of maybe risking the friendship again? Does that ever kind of creep into your head?
It's crossed my mind, but I think we're coming at it from much different places on a personal level. And I think given what we've been through, the fact that the friendship is still intact and as strong as it ever was, I think that stands to the strength of the friendship. And whatever goes down musically is usually a result of that and beyond that,
Not that I want to put a kibosh on the Big Wreck reunion because we're all loving it, but it was just one of those things that crept in my head when I was reading about it, that you guys do have a good friendship, and it was like sometimes it's like going back with an ex-girlfriend that.
Well, yeah, I think we hadn't. We'd chat every sort of couple of years or so, and then just sort of really fell apart, which is a shame because he only lives a few hours from where I live, and the other guys are in the States still. So it was just sort of something I felt a little bit like, it was like I'd sort of let the friendship down, and it was just time to reconnect, and then it was all the rest of everything that followed was just by chance, really. It was all just kind of lined up.
Well, and it sounds great, like the new track Albatross. People absolutely loving it, and it's absolutely fantastic. Was that a song you had written previously and you were just kind of sitting on, or was that something you guys wrote together when you got back?
Well, the main motif, like the musical part, the little da 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 da, that's been kicking around for years. And just sort of searching for a home, and I've tried to squeeze it into different songs as a bridge or as a pre-chorus or something, and it just never. I always thought it was a really strong melody, and then I think it just kind of the rest of the song kind of popped out from that, and it came together really quickly, but as I said, the actual melody of it was kicking around for a long time. It's just something that's been batting around. I couldn't put a number on it, but it's well over 10 years.
And finally, a song for the albatross, a forgotten bird.
Yeah. See, that's the other thing about it. I thought that was a pretty common expression, wearing the albatross. But the more interviews I do about it, I'm finding that I guess it must be an expression that's fallen by the wayside.
I think I was familiar with it too, so I kind of, when I first heard it, I went, "Oh, cool!" But I think you're right. I think a lot of people, when they first heard it, they weren't familiar with that old saying.
Yeah, well, you know what that means? It's ripe for the picking.
When you write material, do you find it different writing for Big Wreck rather than the solo work you did?
I always sort of write the same way, just to get the initial ideas out. Is sort of you just sort of open a vein. I think it was Hemingway that said that. That it's really easy. You just open a vein and start typing. But that's obviously for literature. But musically, it's pretty much the same thing. You just having an instrument in front of you or in your hands, and then trying to connect to something, and then letting it come through. And then as soon as there's something tangible to grab onto, that's when the sort of craft part comes in. And I think with Thornley, the craft was more of a focal point, where the initial ideas can be the same in both aspects. We were really trying to craft songs and trying to fit them into a format or fit them into a thing. And honestly, I didn't really feel comfortable with a lot of the stuff that was going on in that regard. It was with a lot of dumbing down and a lot of trimming of the stuff that I really dig about records. So with the Big Wreck thing, it's just sort of an open valve. It's a little more freeing for me as an artist. I can just sort of, well, here we're going to take a left turn here, and then we're going to go down this hill, and then we're going to arrive on this. You can just keep going without any worry that, well, we're going to lose the listener's interest by minute 4. It's without having any of those constraints in front of you while you're sort of coming up with ideas and writing a song. It's frightening, but it's freeing, you know.
Yeah, and Big Rec has always kind of had that ability to write songs that go in 3 or 4 different directions over the course of the song. It's always been interesting listening to a Big Rec song. It's almost like, where is it going to go?
Yeah. Well, that's part of the joy of it, you know. And I think, given the last few years with the whole Thornley thing, it was, and with changing labels and just sort of wanting to really start fresh. Honestly, when we were in the studio making a record, we didn't know if we were going to call it a Thornley record or a Big Rec record. And I think it was Nick, one of the the executive producer, if we're going to call him. He was the one who said, "Just call it a Big Rec album." It's like it feels like a Big Rec album. There's guitar solos and there's, you know, sort of an intricate balance of sounds and instruments, you know. It's not just here's the verse and here's the chorus and cash in. You know, all the rules about, like, you got to hit the chorus by the first minute of the song, and it has to be 3.5 minutes long. Like, all those rules. I don't know who wrote the rules, but they always felt a little bit like, well, but what if the song doesn't want to do that? You know. So it's nice that Albatross is getting the reaction that it's getting, because it is off the beaten path as far as all those rules are concerned. I don't think I start singing until the first minute, you know?
Yeah, there is a long intro to it.
Yeah. It's a bit of a throwback, and it's ballsy of everyone to put it out like that and jump on board. I'm really proud of the decision that was made to. You know, I was impressed. I was like, really? You're going to go with that one? Because there are songs on the record that are more suited to the 3.5 minute, here you go, wham, bam, you know. I was rather impressed and delighted that they went with Albatross.
Well, it sounds like a Big Rec song, and it has all those turns. And I know when we first started playing it, everybody was just like, thank God Big Rec's back. Like, people were so excited that you guys had returned. Even after 10 years, that's going to feel really good.
Yeah, it does. It does. And it's nice that people can sort of recognize the sound and the sort of feel that I think is something that I certainly missed. And it's nice to know that other people do as well, you know.
And now, are tour plans being put together now for Big Rec?
They are being put together sort of as we speak, yeah.
And plans to hit the East Coast, stop in Halifax, or?
There was a rumor going around last week about a play in Halifax. I don't know what's going on and how it's going to, you know, pan out. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to. I always love going to the East Coast. Well,
we hope to have you back. We want to celebrate the return of Big Rec with you live. So if I need to do anything, let me know. And
all right, brother.
I'll do my best. Who out there is catching your ear right now? Is there anybody that you've been listening to that you're like, those guys got it?
It's hard to say, man. I mean, with the exception of a few sort of more muso, sort of fusion-y kind of things, when it comes to the rock and roll game, I pretty much, I keep going back to the stuff that I've always listened to, you know. It's just like, do I need to hear The Wall again? And then I put it on and I say, yes, I do. You know, until somebody comes along. I mean, I love a lot of the, you know, Coldplay's great, and Foo Fighters and all that. It's all fantastic. I love Muse. They're all great. But, I mean, I think it's something that you attach a really special connection to a certain piece of music or a certain band, and nothing's come along that's beat that for me, you know, like the Zeppelins and the Who and all the stuff that I've always loved.
I hear you. I'm kind of the same way. There's new stuff I pick out, but when I go back, it's always the stuff that was there when I was growing up, which
stuff that still gets me going.
Which includes Big Rec for me.
Right on.
So there you go.
You got fantastic taste.
You'd be the first to say that, my friend.